Hi everyone, welcome to the Cultural Events Calendar tutorial video for the Houston's Cultural Events Calendar. My name is Quang Vu. I am the Grants and Communications Coordinator for the Houston Arts Alliance, and we'll be covering what the Cultural Events Calendar is and how you guys can get connected with arts and culture through our calendar. So jumping straight in, the first thing you guys are going to learn is about the calendar. So what is it and what does it look like, how you guys can use it, and then we'll jump straight into submission guidelines. And this is where we're looking at what is permitted and what isn't permitted. And then after that, we'll look at a live demonstration of how you guys can get started. So that's creating your account and then submitting your first event on the Cultural Events Calendar. And then the review process, which is pretty much what happens after you hit that submit button. Where does your event go? And how long does it take for the review process to be completed? And then we'll talk about tips and tricks for how you can make your event stand out. And then conclude with grantee requirements for using the Cultural Events Calendar. Okay, so the first thing we're looking at is the calendar itself. This is a screenshot of it. And at the bottom of the screen, you guys can see the link that you'll type in to access the Cultural Events Calendar. And then just a little bit about the calendar. The first thing I want to mention is that it is free. It is open to everyone in the greater Houston area to use and find out what is happening. And then if you're a content creator and you have events that you want to get into the faces of other people and new audiences, you can upload your events to our Cultural Events Calendar. And then your event, once it's there, gets roughly 2,200 users who view your events and other events on our calendar on a monthly basis. And then what also happens is that HAA selects and promotes events directly from the calendar on our social media to over 18,000 of our followers. And then the great thing is, if you're looking to get connected, this is kind of one of the best ways to do it. Primarily because we have over 1,600 events that get submitted to us on an annual basis that covers 21 different cities in the greater Houston area, and this is submitted annually. So next, we're jumping into submission guidelines. First, I want to talk about what is permitted. The first thing is geography. So it has to be within the greater Houston area. That means Houston, the Woodlands, and Sugarland. The next thing is that it's only for arts and cultural events open to the public. And then the last thing, which you guys can see on the screen, are parameters and image types for when you're thinking about what images can I upload, what can I put for my event. You have to upload it in these file types and dimensions. All right, here we're going to look at what is not permitted. That first thing that I want to mention is events outside of the greater Houston area. And then for types, we do not approve events that are primarily for retail. And if there are any solicitations related submissions, we don't approve those either. Another thing that we don't permit is duplication. If you have an event with multiple dates or multiple collaborators, our system allows for you to actually submit one event and select multiple dates and multiple collaborators and organizations, so you don't have to submit multiple times for your dates that you have for your event, or you don't have to submit multiple times because each collaborator is submitting an event. You only have to do it once. Another thing that I want to mention that isn't permitted is late submissions. So your submission must be submitted within a minimum of 2 weeks before the actual event date itself. This is important because it does take some time for us to review, but it also takes some time for your event to gain traction and awareness on our platform as users are coming to it to find out about what's happening. All right, let's jump into the live demonstration where we're going to look at how to create a profile and submit an event. So here, when you type in submit.haatx.com, this is where it's going to take you. And this is our submission portal. If you don't have an account already, you'll want to hit this right here to create a new account, which will take you to this page. Once you fill out all of this information here, you can hit sign up and it'll give you an account, and then you can start creating your event. For those who already have an account, we'll go here to submit an event. Since I already have a login, my login is right there and it auto-populates. And you also see here that the submission guidelines are reiterated in this section when you're logging in. So you guys can review it there as well. Now, once you hit log in, this is what it's going to look like for you as a user for the cultural events calendar. I'm going to go here to hit create an event, but I also want to show you guys here that we also include our submission guidelines for you, just so you're aware before you start building your event what's required. All right, so once you're in this portal, you can go ahead and start building your event. Pretty much each section is straightforward. So as you're moving through for the name of the event, you'll simply include the name. We prefer you guys not to use all caps for your event. And then for event summary, that's a pretty short promotional summary of your event itself that we want to hear and other people want to hear. For the event description, we don't recommend you guys dropping your entire press release in here, but rather keeping it to 1 or 2 paragraphs for users who are looking for events to attend to quickly and briefly read. And then if they're interested, you can throw in a link which attaches them to the event itself or a full drop down of the press release for them to read and learn more about your event. And then for here, presenting organization and business, this is where you guys are going to select your organization. And if you've already been a registered organization, you can actually find out what your registered organization is here in the drop-down menu. If not, you can click Add New Organization, and it'll populate this information for you. If you want to add multiple co-presenters, you'll hit this button, and you can add as many co-presenters as you have, just in case if your event has collaborators helping it and also building your event. Here for venue and location info, you'll want to click here to find if your venue already exists. That way you won't have to add a new venue. If you can't find it in the venue search, which is alphabetical order, you can click add a new venue and enter all the information for your new venue. Next, we're going to look at category types. So this part is where you get to select what category your event falls under. And these are all of the event categories that we have available. If there is a secondary category that applies, you'll hit this button and it'll show you a more detailed selection of categories that you can choose. And then here for the tags, which is really important because this is how people find your event once they're searching through the cultural events calendar, is you want to make sure that you're including tags that are actually relevant to your event type and event category, and you're allowed up to 10 per an event listing. Here in dates and times, if your event falls on one day, you'll simply select one date and time for your event. If there are multiple dates and times for your event, you'll go ahead and click the calendar and select all of the dates that your event is happening on. And then make sure that once you've selected all the days of the week for your event to hit save dates so that the system knows that those are the dates for your events. Next, we're moving into ticket admission and registration info. If you guys have an event page that is outside of the cultural events calendar, for a user to go and find where they can get ticket information, you'll want to put that here for people to find out. However, if there is a person that the individual needs to contact for the event information to get tickets, you want to throw that information in here. And then this is pretty straightforward. If you did receive a grant, go ahead and click yes. If you didn't, click no. And then for the images section, here you have to select a primary image. The importance of a primary image is that it's the first thing a person is going to see once they're logged into the system and looking for events. And this is pretty much going to sell the person on why they should click on your event submission. If you have images that you already uploaded, you can find them in the gallery section of your image manager. And so here you can pull from images that you've already submitted in past events or for your account and just upload them as your primary image. And then here, if you have a video link that you want to add, say you want to promote your event via video, you can add it here. And then your contact information should go here. My contact information already auto-populates because I have an account, and this is where it's going to pull your name and email from, which is your account. Once you're done, you'll hit proceed to preview. And the system actually will check to see if you've entered in this information. As you can see, it's boxed in red. If you didn't submit it, the system will let you know to go back and enter that information so that you can submit your event. Once you're done, it'll take you to step 2, which is preview and submit. In the preview and submit section, it'll show you a preview of your event and let you know, is this how you want it to look? And if so, you'll hit submit. All right, so that concludes our live demonstration for it. Let's go ahead and continue with the video. So what happens after you hit submit? Well, it's going to take pretty much between 3 to 4 business days for us to review your event submission. Events are typically reviewed at the beginning and end of the business week. And as we're reviewing your event, if it is ineligible, we will send you a notification letting you know why it was ineligible. And in some cases, you will be able to go back and edit your event and resubmit. And then for approval notifications, once your event is approved, you'll get a notification email from us with a link to your event that you can start sharing with your friends, with your colleagues, and let them know to come out to your event. All right, now let's look at tips on how to make your event stand out. The first thing I want to mention is high quality images are a great way to promote your event. If it's really engaging media, the person is more than likely to click it. And I will say that images that have less text do better. And then the next thing is to be very concise. So making sure that the person who's finding out about your event knows everything that they need to know in order to be able to participate. And then making sure you're submitting as early as possible. The earlier you submit, the more people will see it who are visiting our website. And then the last thing I want to touch on is accuracy. So please double check your submission for correct dates, working links, grammatical errors. Event submissions with a lot of grammatical errors won't be approved. And we will let you know that you have to revise those grammatical errors before we can approve your event. All right, really quickly, I want to touch on grantee requirements. So if you received a grant from Houston Arts Alliance, you are required to submit your event on the cultural events calendar. This is a requirement in your contract, and there will be a separate video that lets grantees know how to pull screenshots of your event on the calendar for your final report. And a final report is a requirement for anyone who receives a grant from Houston Arts Alliance funded by the City of Houston. If you want to find out more information, there's a link at the bottom of the screen for you to read more about our final reporting processes. All right, and that concludes the tutorial. So we hope to see all of your amazing arts and cultural events on the calendar. And if you have any questions as you're submitting your event or any issues with the calendar system, feel free to contact us through the bit.ly link below, right there at the bottom of the screen. Thank you everyone for watching, and we hope to see your amazing arts and cultural events.